Okay, so anyone else try to sneak in some gaming Monday night? Yeah, about that. Not really happened, was it? The PlayStation Network decided to take a little unscheduled break, it seems, which is why we're doing a whole deep dive on this thing. Got our usual stack of articles, the Economic Times, The Verge, and let me see, Engadget. Yep. Going to figure out exactly what went wrong, why it's a big deal, and what this means for gaming going forward. So legend this, right? Monday evening, you're all set, controllers charged, maybe even got snacks, ready to jump online. It dot nothing. Total radio silence. The PlayStation Network basically went dark. And we're not talking a quick blip here. This was the whole shebang. PS4, PS5, even the PS Vita and PS3 were down. Heck, even their website was down.
Yeah, it was wild how much it actually affected. You see PlayStation Network and think, okay, online multiplayer's down. But this was way bigger than that. Think digital downloads, game updates, even stuff you'd think you didn't need an internet connection for, really hit home that for millions of PlayStation users, a huge chunk of the gaming experience depends on that network.
The Verge said it pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Gamers hoping to spend an evening in front of their PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 may be out of luck unless they enjoy single-player experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Though, even then, like downloading a game or updates, that's all out the window, too. Shows how much we just expect a stable internet connection for, well, everything these days.
And it gets weirder when you think about the timing. This all went down right after Sony dealt with that weird bug messing with the home screen artwork on PS5. Now, no one's saying for sure if those are connected, but it's definitely, as the Economic Times put it, noteworthy. Like, makes you wonder if something was up with their whole system,
Yeah, for sure. Makes you think. But the real question is, what caused all this?
Yeah.
Bad code, servers overheating, or, hear me out, maybe those digital gremlins everyone jokes about. Okay, probably not gremlins. Probably. But still.
And this is the frustrating part. Sony's acknowledged the problem, said they're fixing it, but details on what went wrong. That's still classified info, it seems.
Yeah, like we're missing half the pieces to the puzzle. Engadget mentioned folks are getting hit with PS5 error code WS11652227. Any idea what that even means? Sounds like something out of the Matrix to me.
Right. It does sound kind of ominous. So if you go digging for that code on Sony's website, they say it's a system software update failure, which on the surface seems like a big clue, right? But, and this is important, they haven't actually said that's the reason for the massive outage. It's possible, maybe even likely, given what we know, but still no official confirmation.
So total gaming mystery on our hands. We know people couldn't play, which sucks, but what makes this outage such a big deal in the long run?
Well, think about it. Millions of people use PlayStation Network, not just for fun, but connecting with people, even just escaping for a bit, when that suddenly disappears. Disruptive on a lot of levels. And for Sony, it's not just gamers being annoyed. There's a real financial hit, too. Imagine how many digital sales were put on hold.
True. Every minute that network's down is potentially money lost for Sony and developers. And that's not even getting into damage to their reputation.
Exactly. And this isn't a PlayStation-only problem. The entire gaming world is moving towards this always-online system. This just shows what can go wrong with that model.
Makes you wonder about the future of all this, right? Is a steady internet connection going to be as vital as the controller itself? We'll get into all that after a quick word from our sponsors. So we all agree, this whole PlayStation Network thing was a pretty big deal. And not just for folks who missed out on some gaming.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting here is that this whole thing, it's like a little snapshot of this bigger trend. Like, we rely on the internet for everything now.
Oh, totally. Instant messages, streaming, even ordering takeout. It's crazy.
Exactly. And we're so used to it just working that we forget these systems. They can be pretty fragile.
Right, like 1 minute you're downloading a game, the next, it's like the digital world just vanishes.
And it's not just about things being annoyingly down. It raises questions about, well, are we too reliant on this stuff?
That's a good point. It's like, yeah, being connected all the time is amazing, but it definitely makes us vulnerable.
It's a tough one. On one hand, the possibilities are endless when everything's connected. But then this happens, and it's like, whoa, maybe we've put all our eggs in one basket. What do you think?
I mean, it's tough, right? What are we supposed to do? I can't imagine life without being constantly connected.
No, for sure. But maybe this is a wake-up call. Like, even if companies are pushing this always online world, maybe there should be some options, for some things at least, to work offline too.
Like a backup plan for when the internet decides to take a nap.
Exactly. This outage, it's not like it's never happened before, and it'll probably happen again. So how do we make it less of a big deal when it does?
So what can we actually do? Is it all on the companies to fix, or is there something we can do as like individual users?
Well, Sony can definitely step up their game, make sure the servers are rock solid, can handle all the traffic.
Like a backup generator,
It-
but for your internet connection.
exactly. Plus, the software needs to be airtight too. Bug testing, security, a plan for when things go wrong, which, let's face it, they always do at some point.
Makes sense, but that's got to be expensive. Makes you wonder if companies are really prioritizing that.
Right. And that's the thing. Investing in all that prevention, it's a cost up front. But then you've got the cost of an outage to think about. Lost money, yeah, but also their reputation, people trusting them less.
It's a tough call for them, for sure. But it's not all on the companies either. We have a part to play too, right?
Absolutely. We got to be aware of the risks of always being online. It's easy to just assume it'll always work, but those systems, not perfect no matter what.
So be informed, be prepared. But how do we actually do that besides like having a book ready for when the Wi-Fi's down?
Don't underestimate those service status pages. Yeah, they're
Mhm.
not exactly a page turner, but a quick check now and then can tell you if something's up. And hey, doesn't hurt to have a backup entertainment plan. Maybe dig out those old game cartridges or, break out a board game.
Love that. Going old school. But let's be real, some of us, especially if you're really plugged into the digital world, being offline, even for a little bit, it's rough.
True. Shows how much these online experiences have a hold on us now. Which brings us back to that big question.
Yeah.
How much are we willing to put up with just to stay connected?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Some things just don't have an easy answer. But hey, that's what makes these deep dives so interesting, right? So any news on when we can all go back to our regularly scheduled gaming? Did Sony figure out what happened with this whole Vanishing Network act?
Still pretty quiet on that front, to be honest. No official word on when it'll be completely fixed.
So the waiting game continues. Guess refreshing the PlayStation Store won't help, huh? Although, gotta admit, I've caught myself doing it a few times, just out of habit.
Yeah, we've all been there. But seriously, though, this whole thing really shows how important it is to stay informed. Keeping an eye on those official channels, even when everything's working fine, can really help you stay ahead of the game, before the digital world throws you another curveball.
Totally. Knowledge is power, even when it comes to gaming.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've gone through this PlayStation Network outage, from the initial confusion to what it means for online gaming and beyond.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. It'll be interesting to see how Sony handles this moving forward. Will they change their approach? Will we see more of a focus on, preventing this from happening again? Guess only time will tell.
For sure. But for now, we want to hear from you. This whole thing has got us thinking we love being constantly connected. But are we ready for when those connections go down? Hit us up on social media and let us know what you think. Until next time, happy gaming, everyone. And hey, if you can't game right now, well, maybe it's time to pick up a book, dust off that old board game, or even, have an actual conversation with someone. Crazy, right?